What is going on, guys? As promised, I have a very special video for you today, and that is 5 stocks that I personally like trading the wheel on. So we are going to go over 5 of these. The first 4 I've made videos over before, and the last one is something a stock that I've never traded options on before, but I have owned the stock before. So we're going to get into all of these. We're going to go over basically why I think they're a good stock to own potentially for the long term, the potential downsides to these stocks, and get into all of it. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. And if you do like the video, make sure you drop a like down below. And if you want to see more videos like this one, make sure you hit that sub button. Stock number 1 that we have up here is one of my favorite stocks in the stock market right now, and that is Sofi Technologies. So this stock has been beaten down just like the rest of these stocks that we're going to look at. Over the last 6 months, it's down over 61%. And if we look at the last year, it's down over 70%. And it's kind of had this interesting trend that I kind of saw going on. And I actually got into this stock around here originally with a very small position. I was actually selling puts. And then since then, I've kind of sold puts along the way because I don't really mind loading the boat. So I own a significant number of shares kind of now with Sofi Technologies. And obviously my cost basis is actually much higher than where the stock is at now. But I'm not worried at all. It's kind of shown this trend over and over again. And back when I was selling puts in here, I kind of thought the trend was going to happen back in here, I thought the trend was going to happen again. And then obviously it didn't. It just kind of kept tanking down. But you can see what I'm talking about, where the stock goes up to around $20 to $25, and then it tanks back down into like this $14-15 range, and then ran back up into that $20 to $25 range, and then sank back down into the $15 range, and then ran back up into the $20 to $25 range, and then sank back down. And then this time, obviously, there was bigger global, economic trends that really just kept driving the stock down. Overall, when you look at the company and look at the financials for this company, they are just headed in all the right directions. They're opening checking accounts. They purchased a bank over the last year. I mean, as all this negativity that's happened in the market, you literally cannot find a single bad thing about SoFi. They purchased a bank that allowed them to basically have checkings and savings accounts. That their checkings and savings accounts have grown. The number of users that they have on their platform have grown. The amount of money that basically those users are putting on the platform. The number of products that the users are using on the platform has increased. Every number, metric, is going up across the board. So I just love this stock and really love it for the long term. So I don't mind holding it. I think it'll easily go back, well above where my cost basis is at right now. So I'm not worried. It's just a matter of, how long do I have to hold it for, basically. And honestly, if I can load even more shares, I kind of want to diversify because I have it in my small account and I don't want to have everything in one boat. So that's really the only reason I'm not even, I've sold a couple more puts on it. And letting those expire, but I'm not trying to overload the boat with this one. Next up here we have Palantir Technologies. So this is another stock. I actually do not own this stock, but I've sold a number of puts kind of as it's fallen along the way. And today it's up actually almost 6%. If we look at the last 6 months, it's down again over 50%. Last year, down 65%. So not as bad as SoFi Technologies, but still, not very good. This is one though where it's been kind of weird because I actually sold a put. I think it was down in here and the stock kind of rebounded up and it didn't get exercised, even though I wanted it to. I was like, oh, I really want to own some Palantir. And the stock bounced up and I just collected all the premium and I was like, all right, whatever. So it's actually gotten back to a very interesting point for me. And that's more, I would have sold puts on it earlier, preferably back down in here. But honestly, I had some capital tied up in other areas. So basically now it's starting to get to another point where I'm trying to free up a little bit of capital and then potentially sell a put against Palantir for 2 weeks out. And this one, I'm hoping that I can get some and actually buy some shares. So I'm trying to sell very close to money. I might sell, like the 850. I'm hoping it has a red day tomorrow, and then I can sell basically underneath the stock and get in at a good price. So Palantir, again, all the metrics in the right direction. This is a business. I personally am an engineer, and I understand and see all these. I work in industries where data-driven decisions are massive for companies, and it just seems like this company, Palantir, with their data focus, like it's just going to be a huge thing, and these companies are going to purchase, software from them, and the government's already purchasing software from them. So personally, like this stock, like it for the long term, and just need to get into it actually, at some point. So Palantir, that's the number 2 one that we have here on the list today. Number 3, we have Robinhood, and this is another one that's up over 5% today. But if we look at the last 6 months, down almost 60%. Last year, they're down almost 80%. So this one is down quite a lot, and it's just been beaten and destroyed, and it's had some bad news along the way and a lot of different things that just have driven this stock into the ground. Crypto's fallen off, and crypto was a huge part of their basically business in 2020 and even and especially in 2021. So all of that has kind of just caused this stock to get completely beaten down. I heard in a different video, and I haven't actually confirmed this, but around the price that it's at right now, the $7.55, basically the market cap that equates to is $6.58 billion. And I've heard that they actually have around that amount on their balance sheet, basically sitting in cash. So it's almost like you're buying Robinhood for free at that point. Again, I haven't confirmed that. I would, if I make its own video on this, then I'd look into some of those statistics. But as of right now, I do own some shares of Robinhood, but at a much higher cost basis than where it's at now. This is another one that I'd be interested in loading a little bit more on. I think it's one of those stocks that, it IPO'd only a couple years back, and it had that amazing run up, and then it's kind of just, you've kind of expected it to fall off, just like a lot of stocks will do after the IPO. But then on top of that, we've had just terrible market conditions. So it's a very interesting one that I could see, again, long term, it kind of changed the game of the entire stock market. So I don't think it's, going anywhere. I think it has a lot of attention from a lot of young investors, and I think, that's going to be a good thing in the long term. So overall, I like Robinhood, and it has very high premiums right now because the stock is just being destroyed. So it's a good one overall, in my opinion, to sell puts against. Next up here, we have probably my least favorite stock out of the group. And I say that, it's not terrible in my opinion, but with the way the market is going and the economy is going and where I kind of see home prices going, I could see rocket companies getting absolutely kind of destroyed over the next 2 to 3 years. But I think long term, like mortgages are going online, and a lot of people are going to resort to this type of marketplace to get loans. So rocket company, they capitalize a lot on mortgages and people just basically looking for mortgages online. And they were up well over 6% today. Over the last 6 months though, down 55%. Over the last year, down over 60%. So I do own shares of this company. I purchased them a while back, actually probably at the worst kind of possible time, as everyone was refinancing, so the rocket was kind of blown up. But even back then, their PE ratio was super low. I think it was even lower than where it's at today. But with less people refinancing, less people getting mortgages, they haven't earned as much money recently, so their PE ratio has actually gone up for that reason, even though the stock price has dropped down. So overall, again, I like the company in the long term. I think they have the right things, going for it. I think people are going to overall want to use online, mortgage brokers more and more often. But this is one that, you're getting it at a super low price. There's not a whole lot, in my opinion, more downside, but there's a lot of potential for upside. If we get back to 5-year highs, you're around $28, so you'd be over 4x your money. So that's kind of what draws me to this one, is just the potential upside to the risk to the downside. So all these stocks so far have been basically under $1,000 is what you would need to run the wheel on the stock. This one though, you would need a little over $2,000, and this is probably one of my favorites in terms of, it's the largest company that we've seen on this list. It's probably the safest because it does have a more established business model. But with that said, it's going to be one of the companies that is probably hurt the most on this list from a potential recession, because people will be going out less, people will be, going to bars less and doing things like that less. So this is obviously Uber Technologies, and Uber Technologies, as you all know, car service where basically car taxi service, I guess is the best way to explain it. If you don't know what it is, you can Google it, but you've probably been living under a rock. So yeah. But anyways, it was barely down today, and over the last 6 months, it's down over 50 or almost 50%. Over the last year, it's down over 55%. So this is an interesting one. I did own Uber. I've never sold options against it, but I did own Uber back in 2020. Basically, when they bottomed out, I bought them around $22, I think it was, and then kind of rode them up for a year. And then after a year had passed, I just wanted to get out of the position because I honestly saw other better deals in the market. So basically I sold out of the position around, the $50 mark, $45 to $50, I think it was. And then the market obviously turned and it's kind of back down actually below where I originally bought it in at. So this is one that I'm interested in, again, for the long term. This is one that I just, in the short term, I think over the next 6 to 12 months, it could still get hurt and kind of keep trending down a little bit further. But I wouldn't mind picking up shares here and as it kind of keeps going down. But again, this is going to require a little bit more capital to get into, but it's a lot stronger company and it has a huge market cap. A lot of people, believe in the company and use the company on a day-to-day basis. So overall, Uber, I think, is a good company for the long term. So to close out this video, I want you guys to take away one thing, and that is that the whole point of this is that you need to find stocks, especially when you're running the wheel, that you personally believe in for the long term, that you love where the company's headed and you want to buy them at a discount and you want to get some premium for it. You basically are getting paid, when you run the wheel, you're getting paid to buy shares of a company that you love. And that's the most important thing to understand about the wheel strategy, is that you need to utilize it in a way that is going to benefit you and on companies that you love for the long term. So overall, I hope you guys kind of got that away from this video. Again, these are stocks that I personally like for the long term, that are cheap and easy to get into. You pick out the ones that you are comfortable with owning. So overall, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like down below. And if you want to see more videos like this one, make sure you hit that sub button. And as always, have a wonderful rest of your day.